So now we have our directory tree, and what we're going to do is we're going to populate it with a little bit of data and move that data around using special commands. The next portion of this sublesson deals with the commands that allow us to move that data. So the first one is the move command. It moves one or more files from one location to another, and it just takes them from one location and places them in another. There's also the copy command. This makes a copy of the file or files, and it can do that from one location to another. And then you have more advanced commands. You have xcopy, which not only copies a file or more than one file, but it can also copy entire directories and the subdirectories within those directories. And finally, robust copy, which is robocopy. This is the successor to xcopy, and it copies file data. It does everything that xcopy can do, which is a lot, but it can also copy information from one computer to another. So it's a very powerful program. Let's show a couple of these now, and we'll bring up our directory tree again, just so you can remember what we have here. So I have already populated this Word directory with a couple files. And what I want to do is I want to move those files over to, say, the FPS directory. And then later, we'll copy them to other directories as well. So let's go to the command prompt again. And right now I'm in testdir. So I want to get down into the Word directory. To do that, we'll type cd space office \word. You have to type each folder level or each directory level as you traverse through them. And press enter, and that puts us into the Word directory. If we type dir, we'll see the two files that I created here. notepad1.txt, which is 67 bytes. It has some content. It has some data in there. And notepad2.txt, which is 0 bytes. It has no content. There's no words in there. And by the way, to show this in Windows Explorer or File Explorer, we can bring up File Explorer now by pressing Windows and R on the keyboard and typing Explorer. And from there, we'll go to the C drive. And within C drive, here is the test directory, testdir. And inside that, we have Games and Office. Double-click Office. We see Excel and Word. Double-click Word. And we see our two Notepad files. So this is the GUI representation of what we're doing in the command prompt. So I'll go back to the command prompt now. And you can look at these files, if you want, by using the type command. If you have a basic text file, you can use the type command to look at the contents. So I could type the command, type, and the name of the file, notepad1.txt. Press enter, and it shows you the contents here. I just typed all this information. That's the contents of that text file. And you could do that for batch files and config files as well that are created within programs like Notepad. If they're basic text files, you can look at them here. We could also view that in File Explorer. If we double-click the file, that'll bring up Notepad, and you'll see the same contents. And Notepad is a great tool to use if you're working with basic text files or batch files or config files or even HTML files. So definitely get into the habit of using Notepad. You can open that real fast from the search tool or by going to the run prompt and just typing Notepad. So we'll go back to the command prompt. We see our files, and what we want to do is we want to move them over to that other folder, over to that FPS folder. Now, to show that again, what we're going to need to do is to move them from Word to FPS, we're going to have to go up, and then down and down. So the best way to do that is to use a full path. We want to place the file here, so we're going to use the move command, and it's going to be \testdir \games \fps. And we'll just move one file for now. So let's show that. We'll use the move command, and we're going to say we want to move the file notepad1.txt, and then we have to specify the destination. The destination is going to start from the root, testdir, /games, /fps. Press enter, and it says one file moved. This takes a little practice to get used to, but once you do, and you start moving faster with it, you realize that it can be a very powerful tool. You're going to be working in the command prompt so much anyway, so you may want to actually get into knowing these commands. So now we've moved the file. If we do a dir again, we see we don't have Notepad1 anymore. We just have Notepad2. That's because we did indeed move it to the FPS folder. Now let's say I wanted to copy that file from FPS over to RPG. Well, we got two options. We could change directory and move ourselves over to the FPS directory and then make the move of the file or copy of the file. Or we could do it right from our location. So let's show both of those now. First, I'm going to move over to the FPS directory. We're going to do that with the cd /testdir /games /fps. Press enter, and that drops us in the FPS directory. If we type dir, it then shows the notepad1.txt file. Now I said I want to copy that file now. I want to make a copy of it and copy it from FPS over to RPG. To do that, we could do a copy space, the name of the file, notepad1.txt, space, and the entire path down to the RPG directory, which is going to be / because that's the root, testdir, /games, /RPG. Press enter, and it says one file copied. Now we've got the file here. It's still there, but we also have it in the RPG folder or directory. And we'll show that. We'll change to that directory. And do a dir. And there's the copy of that file. But what I was saying before is we don't have to actually be in the directory to copy or move that file to a different location. We can copy or move any contents from anywhere by using that entire full path. So let's say we wanted now to make a copy of the file that's in RPG and place it back in Word. We can do that from here. We could also do it from any other location. So let's just say that we were working in the Excel directory. And we'll move over to that now. We'll do a cd space / testdir /office /excel. So now we're in the Excel directory. And what we want to do from here is copy the file that's here and place it here. So we're going to need two full paths to do that. So we'll show that now. First, we'll clear the screen. So we're going to do a copy, and we need to know the entire path to the file and the file name. So that's going to be /, which is the root, testdir /games /RPG / and the file name, which is notepad1.txt. That is the source. That is where the file is located right now. Now we need to type the destination, and that's going to be the entire path and where we want it to go. So that's going to be the root / testdir /office /word. We press enter, and it says one file copied. And to prove that, we'll change over to the Word directory. Type dir, and there's that original file, or a copy of it, I should say. And so we've succeeded in copying a file from this folder to this folder while we were inhabiting this folder. So there's a little bit about the move and copy commands. The other two commands were xcopy, and robocopy. We'll start by showing Xcopy and the help file for that. And there's a ton of stuff that you can do with this. And one of the big reasons I use Xcopy is for copying directories and subdirectories, copying lots of data, basically the whole tree of content, all the subdirectories. And quite often I'll use /e, which copies directories and subdirectories, including empty subdirectories. But sometimes I'll want to exclude the empty directories because they don't have any data in them. And to do that, we use the /s option. So know those two for the exam. And take a look at the help file. There's a lot of options here when it comes to Xcopy. The other one was robocopy. And if we do the /? For that, press enter, you see there is just literally tons of information and options for robust file copy. And one of the things that I'll use this for is for copying information from one computer to another. And you do that with what's known as a universal naming convention path. That's /, the name of the computer, /, and the share name of the data that you want to move, because it has to be shared on the network. And we'll talk more about that as we move on. But basically, the important thing to know here is that this tool is excellent for copying one file or tons of data from one computer to another. You can use it locally as well, but it's great for copying information over the network. So that's the robocopy command. And you'll also notice that we can run the help files for any of these commands from any directory within the command prompt. So keep that in mind as well. If you wanted to remove a directory, you could do that. I'm going to move up one directory into Office. If we do a dir, we'll see we have Excel and Word. If you want to get rid of a directory, you can easily do that with the rd command. rd space Excel, press enter, and you get no response to that. But if we type dir, it is indeed gone. So again, know those directory manipulation commands, especially cd and md, but also rd as we just showed. And also know the move and copy commands, the Xcopy command, and the robocopy command. So try these on your systems within the command prompt. And that's about it for this sublesson.